Andrew Ravens here of RavensNewsPost.com, bringing you a MMA update, news audio update, whatever you want to call it, for Monday, February 29th, 2016. A lot of things going on in the world of mixed martial arts. First off, we came off two MMA events over the weekend. First, you had Bellator 150. Their main event fell out the day of the day before the event on Thursday, before the weigh-ins, a couple hours before then. And they lost their bantamweight title fight. You had Czech Congo, another guy fight. It was an okay fight. It was an okay event. I just checked the numbers, and they pulled about 7,000 or 700,070 viewers on Spike TV. So that's not actually bad. I have not checked the plus threes, which is DVR and replay numbers yet. So you can bump those up a little bit, which is actually about the range that Bellator should do in their current state. You know, the Bellator 149 card with Kimbo Slice and Dada 5000, as well as Ken Shamrock and Hoist Gracie, they did about 2.2 million. They peaked in that, and then the plus threes came out, and it was about 2.9 peaked in the main event for Shamrock and Grace. So that's good. But Bellator 150 was really, it was a 5-card main card, or a 5-bout main card, and it just really did not work out. And I'm a huge Bellator fan. I really am. I really like the way that they present their product, aside from the freak show aspect that they did at Bellator 149. I like the presentation. I like that it's not... I like that you have a choice where you can watch the prelims online, or you can just watch the main card on Spike TV. I really, really do like that. And then you had UFC Fight Night 84 with Anderson Silva and Michael Bisping. And I will say this about this event. The actual event sucked. It really did. It had 10 decisions. And the fights were not that good. I was not very high on that card whatsoever. The main event saved it, no doubt. Silva and Bisping put on a war. And a couple news on that. So first, Silva's coach came out today, Monday, and said that Silva thought that he cracked his surgically repaired leg. Now, of course, Silva broke that leg in a rematch with Chris Weidman in 2013 at UFC 168 for the middleweight title. He did not crack it, nor did he move the screw that replaced his leg, or fixed his leg, I should say. However, he did injure it. He will avoid surgery, and he will be out a few weeks. Now, on the flip side, his translator came out and said that Silva would like to have a rematch with Michael Bisping at UFC 198, which is in Brazil, which is in May, I believe. And then he wants a rematch with Bisping for a trilogy fight at UFC 200 in July in Las Vegas. Now, I think that's all fine and good, and I made this point in an article I wrote today. Look, Silva is nowhere near the title, nor is Bisping. Let's get that out there and set it straight. They're not going to be fighting for the title anytime soon, and probably not for the rest of their careers. I thought that Silva looked really, really bad in the first 2 rounds. I thought his movement wasn't as sharp. I thought that his chin was not there because he did get dropped in the second round by Bisping. However, in the later rounds, and especially in the third round, Silva really wrapped up his fire. He really started to throw some good shots, some power behind those shots. He got his confidence back. And then the third round happened where Bisping dropped his mouthpiece. He pointed to Herb Dean. Hey, I dropped my mouthpiece. Boom, he got kneed in the fucking face. So you had that, and surprisingly, Bisping not only was saved by the bell, but he also came back and started whooping on Silva. And so you have that aspect of a great story/war of a fight, and that is very entertaining. And a lot of people want to see that again. I don't know if they have enough for it to be a trilogy fight. I also think you can make the argument that a rematch between the two in a recent amount of time would not only be drawing ability, but people would at least be interested in it. I don't know if it would be a headliner. I don't know if you would do it on Fight Pass. I think if you did do it on the card for UFC 198, which is actually headlined by a heavyweight title bout, put that in the co-main or just somewhere on the main card, I think people would be enjoyed by that. I think Anderson Silva's fans, I think Michael Bisping's fans, I think they would pay to see that fight again. And I think trying to stretch it into a trilogy fight in a short amount of time, in a month's amount of time, I think that's pushing the envelope a little bit. However, if they put on the performance in the rematch that they did in the original fight, I think people would be really, really intrigued by that, especially if Silva can beat Bisping again. And that's the key to doing a trilogy fight. No one wants to see someone who's already beat you twice and then have a third fight. You can make the argument that there's comparisons between Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber, but they just have bad blood, and those dudes can go. So they have to capitalize on that. Switching gears from that, you have another 2 MMA events, back-to-back nights. You have Bellator 151, headlined by Joe Warren. And then on Saturday, you have the massive, and we will get into this as the week goes on, as the week builds on, as the event builds on. You have Nathan Diaz taking on Conor McGregor in a welterweight bout in the main event at UFC 196 on Saturday night, exclusively on pay-per-view. And then you have the fight that a lot of people are overlooking and will be the main, it will be the fight of the night, I predict, which is Holly Holm defending her first title defense, I might add, her women's bantamweight title against Miesha Tate in the co-main event. Miesha Tate's been out for several months. Holm hasn't fought since November when she knocked the shit out of Ronda Rousey. And that has a very good chance of being a classic women's fight. And I also think this, and a lot of people would agree with me and a lot of people won't, that's up to you to decide. Miesha Tate can beat Holly Holm. It's done. She can do it. And I think a lot of people believe in the hype that Holly Holm is, and she deserves all the credit that she deserves. But the idea that Holly Holm is going to walk over Miesha Tate is just not reasonable. If the fight stays on the feet, Holly Holm obviously has a better chance of winning due to her boxing and kickboxing background. But Miesha Tate can go. She can go on the feet and especially on the ground. And a lot of people thought, well, if Ronda Rousey, if she could get Holm to the ground, this fight is over. And that is a very good argument. But Ronda didn't do that. She decided to stand, trade, and get the knock the fuck out by Holly Holm. You can't do it. It's not justifiable. You got to take her to the ground, you got to ground and pound on her ass, and you got to walk out with that belt by unanimous decision, split decision, submission, whatever you want to call it. You win, you're the champion. Bottom line, it doesn't matter if you're standing or on the ground, but the best possibility of winning that belt and beating Holly Holm, who's an undefeated fucking beast, is to take her down and ground and pound her. We'll get into that more later on in the week. Hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I'm Andrew Ravens, ravensnewspost.com. Hit me up on Twitter, and I'll talk to you later.